Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to F1 Lift the Lid. My name is Callum and I am riding my motorbike. This is just a chance for me to go through everything that's been happening in Formula 1 as in recent weeks. We're about a week after Monza right now. We're coming up to Singapore. And I know most of you fans out there are really disappointed with the finish to Monza under a safety car, especially the American fans. People who are tuning in for the first time, seeing something fall under a safety car. The same with a draw in all American sports. It just doesn't happen. They want excitement, they want thrilling till the very end, and we didn't get that at Monza, unfortunately. But the rules were followed. That makes all the difference here. When we go back, looking back to Abu Dhabi with all that drama there with Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen, the rules weren't followed. They didn't let the cars behind through, and they just wanted to have that shootout finish at the end, with Michael Massey just being in complete control under that pressure of knowing that the world was watching and it was the Formula One's chance to shine. If that happened again here at Monza, to be honest, I think it would really be damaging for the sport if we carried on with this idea that we can just the race director can do just whatever they want to make it more dramatized and make it more entertaining to the fans. It's no longer a sport, it's purely entertainment, and that's what Formula One need to be really clear about. If you want to watch Drive to Survive, you want that kind of entertainment, go watch Drive to Survive, but the sport needs to be real, and I think F1 did the right thing. Okay, they didn't clear the Daniel Ricciardo's McLaren away fast enough. That caused a real big issue, and there's something to be done there. But I really do think that the FIA and the race director did make the right call on this side. But let me know what you think. Put your comments down below, and have that open discussion. Is what the fans want, and I think we need to get some debate about this for the future, because we want to make sure that the fans are entertained, but at the same time we want to make sure that it is a sport and that we are sticking to the rules. Maybe we should have red flagged it. Maybe we should have just stopped it at that point of whatever it was, lap 45, 46, something like that. We could have just red flagged it at that point, stopped the race completely, and then had a few lap shootout to the end. But I think that one lap shootout is a bit much. It means that someone like Max Verstappen, who was the dominant car for the whole race, would be at a disadvantage, and it probably isn't fair in the kind of good side of sporting regs. I really do think that the Max deserved the win there today. Now, moving on to Singapore. Actually, before we go to Singapore, I want to give my 2 cents on everything that's been happening over the silly season, over the summer break, and that story is continuing now with someone like Daniel Ricciardo still being without a seat for next year. As most of you will probably know, this whole thing started coming about with Sebastian Vettel giving his notice essentially to Aston Martin to leave at the end of this year, and that freed up that seat in Aston Martin. We then saw Fernando Alonso taking the seat at Aston Martin, which everyone thought was really strange and thought was a really bad move to go away from Alpine, where he is currently. And Alpine are currently beating McLaren in the Constructors' Championship. But in my opinion, I really do think that Aston Martin are going to see a huge improvement in the next year or two, particularly with the new facility being built at Silverstone. I think also there must be quite a bit of, I don't know exactly how to put it, but I guess a toxicity going on within Alpine, with the whole reason of Fernando wanting to leave in the first place for a team that he's got so much history with, and then also with the Piastri fiasco as well, with Piastri not wanting to stay on at Alpine, and I think Fernando must have been offered probably a good chunk of money to finish his career at Aston, but I also believe they've got some great things coming with that new facility being built, and the people that they've been taking on there. Now, going on to Piastri, Again, same story as for Alonso. There must be something going on at Alpine for Alonso to make that move, and for Piastri to not uphold the side of his deal with Alpine, essentially paying for his career up until this point. So I think there's a lot of questions that need to be asked of Alpine's management. I don't know if it's as much as Otmar Saf now, because he came into the team later on. I think these problems stem from much further back, and from hearing all the press information that Alonso's kind of come out with, it certainly seems that way. Now Piastri is going to McLaren. And how do you get that McLaren seat? Because Daniel Ricciardo is leaving. Now, I really do believe that Ricciardo knew about this a long time ago. I believe when Zach Brown first came out with it, when he was being interviewed, he mentioned about that there was, what was the word, mechanisms or something along those lines in the contract to allow Daniel Ricciardo out of his contract. Someone who is the head of McLaren just would not say that, especially someone like Zach Brown, who has plenty of experience with PR and marketing. He just wouldn't come out with something like that unless he already had something in the motion that he was 99.9% sure was going through. To be honest, I think Daniel Ricciardo put out that tweet or that post on social media explaining that he was committed to McLaren just as a way to kind of help fulfill his contract, so that maybe he could get paid a lot more from when they actually do get rid of him. And I'm pretty sure it was all McLaren's idea to get rid and not Daniel Ricciardo's, because surely Ricciardo knows that finding another seat can be quite difficult. My personal opinion, if Daniel Ricciardo is to stay in F1, I reckon Haas would be a great stop for him. I'm pretty sure they're going to be getting rid of Schumacher at the end of the year. Good Lord knows where Schumacher's going to be going, but Ricciardo I think would be a great fit on there, particularly when you talk about the marketing side of it, with Gunther Steiner there being so popular in Netflix, and Daniel Ricciardo as well. The pair of them have done great things with the Netflix show, and to be honest, at this point in Ricciardo's career, it's not likely he's going to be getting a competitive race seat. So if I was him, I'd certainly be looking at what would earn me the most money in the shortest amount of time, and what will keep me in F1. And I think the Haas seat is most likely the thing that's going to be there for Daniel Ricciardo. Now, hopefully that's brought us up to speed. Obviously, if you want to have a different opinion on that, if you've got some other ideas as to what will happen in the driver market, let us know in the comments as well. We've got Singapore coming up. This is going to be the first time that F1 has been back to Singapore since 2019, due to the pandemic and those couple of years where Singapore haven't allowed F1 to go there. I had the pleasure of visiting Singapore actually in 2019, about 2 months before the Grand Prix, and got to have a little walk around the track while they were putting up all the grandstands, and it really is an amazing sight to see. Probably one of my favourite Grand Prix to watch, just purely because of the challenge to the drivers. And we'll remember Lewis Hamilton's kind of one of the greatest laps in F1 history from 2018, in my opinion. So we're looking forward to see more of that, particularly with these new cars with the higher downforce. It'll be really interesting to see who can get ahead there. Obviously, Verstappen's still the favourite, but I think these higher downforce tracks are going to really favour teams like Mercedes, to bring them a little higher up the pack. And we saw just how well George Russell and Lewis Hamilton were performing, even at Monza, which is a low drag circuit, and something like that, where we saw that George Russell, I believe, came in third, and Lewis Hamilton came from the back to end up fifth, even ahead of Perez. That just shows how well Mercedes are doing, and that they're still in the fight, particularly for that second place in the Constructors' Championship. So it'd be really interesting to see what's going to happen there under the lights at Singapore with that. And that's it for the first ever F1 Lift the Lid show. If you like the show, give it a like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, and leave me any kind of feedback. It'd be great to hear from you guys. And remember to tune in next week. Every Monday I'm going to be dropping a new F1 Lift the Lid. Speak to you soon.